So
paragraph.
each paragraph is like a chapter of a book when you're writing an essay.
Okay, a chapter of the book.
Right? So let's say you're writing a book about each paragraph is like a chapter of a book. So let's say you were writing a book about how how to make the perfect cake, right? It's a long book about how to make the perfect cake.
Cake.
So your first chapter, you might want to talk about how what type of cake you plan on making and why you plan on making that cake, right? So first chapter, you might be talking about what type of cake you plan on making, why this cake, the historical purposes, the meaning, the reason for making this cake. The second chapter, you might want to talk about the ingredients and how you're going to source the ingredients for the cake. The third chapter, you might want to talk about all the utensils that you need, right? You might want to talk about all the utensils you need and the appliances that you need and the type of oven you need and the type of blenders and right. The fourth chapter, you might want to talk about what chapter one, third or fourth, I can't remember. You might want to talk about the ingredients, right? Fifth chapter, you might want to talk about the budget. I don't know, the budget and timing and budget. Or you might want to have a chapter about budget and a chapter about timing, right? Then the next chapter, you might want to talk about how you put all the ingredients together, how you mix it and how you season and this type of, how you blend this and whip that, right? The next chapter, you might want to talk about how, the pan, prepare the pan and right. The next chapter you might want to talk about placing it in the oven and the importance of the temperature and where you put it in there. Do you put it in the top rack, the middle rack, the bottom rack, right? Next chapter you might want to talk about what do you do when it's done? How do you know the cake is done, right? And what do you do after it's done, right? The next chapter, you might want to talk about plating, how you plate it to make it appealing, right? So my point is, anytime you write, you're telling a story, right? And each paragraph is like a chapter of the story, and it has just like the story about the cake, how to bake a cake, right? So I'm not going to talk about appliances or the tools I need to bake a cake, and also talk about how delicious the cake tastes or the history of the cake. All right. The appliance paragraph or the tool paragraph, the only thing I should be talking about is tools. The history of this cake is the only thing I want to talk about. Why I selected this cake that's the only thing I want to talk about. Right.
Okay.
And some of the problems I'm having. That's the only. So in the paragraph, each paragraph should have a topic and controlling idea.
Okay. Topic and controlling.
And that is what gives the paragraph purpose and meaning. Okay. So topic sentence might look like, chocolate cake is the most popular cake in the world. So my topic is chocolate cake. My controlling idea is that it's the most popular. All right. So in this paragraph, I'm only talking about chocolate cake being popular. I'm not talking about apple pie. I'm not talking about vanilla cake. I'm not talking about lemon cake. I'm not talking about strawberry shortcake, right? I'm just talking about how chocolate cake is the most popular and why it's the most popular. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Because my topic sentence was chocolate topic. Controlling idea is that it's the most popular. Okay. So in terms of your essay, you might want to have, you need to, I think I said this last time, you need to outline it and break down each topic in controlling idea. Why
Okay.
why is assessment critical? Okay, why is assessment critical? Because when you write, all you're doing is you're storyboarding. You're telling a story and then you storyboard it, and the outline is the storyboard. How do you want to tell the story? And each paragraph is like a chapter of that book. And in the chapter, you should only be focused on that story. Okay. Or that part of the story. Okay. And let the topic sentence be king. Rule rule that paragraph. Just like the thesis statement rules the entire essay. Okay. So the only thing that's still what I really see right now is that you just need to give paragraphs a little bit more focus.
Okay.
You don't have to rewrite the paragraph, but give the paragraphs focus. Okay.
Okay.
Put a topic sentence and then kind of alter them so the paragraphs have focus, because as whoever grades your paper, they need to see that you can stay on task, that you can write cogently with good cohesion, right? That you're concise and you're coherent, right? And right now your coherency is a little off.
Okay.
Just so you know, anytime you have like an acronym like this, SSC or OLITS or TOEFL, when you first write an acronym, you need to write it out completely. So what does SSC stand for?
It's the secondary school certificate. This is in all Bangladesh exams.
So you need the first time you use that acronym SSC, you need to write it out. So it will look like this. Secondary
school certificate.
And then you would put it like this. And you don't use the dots. You say SS. Most of the time we don't use dots. We do it just like that. All right. For the first time that acronym is mentioned. And then after the first time, then you can just say SSC.
Okay. So I have to write first that what it stands for.
Right. Always, anytime. That's what's in the APA manual.
Okay.
Okay. So the main thing, also be careful with the passive voice. Right? The passive voice is when there's no actor and it seems like the imaginary person is the actor. So just be careful with the passive voice. Okay. So always have a subject and a verb for the most part. Passive voice is not wrong. It's just we don't use it a lot in academic writing because it can be confusing as to who's doing the action. And sometimes when you write too much in the passive voice, it seems like the object is doing the action. All right. So make sure you have a clear actor, a clear subject and verb. We don't want to say the cake was eaten by the cake was eaten. Even the cake is eaten. The cake was eaten. That's still the passive voice. Because who ate the cake? The cake didn't eat itself. Right?
Right.
So you say the boy ate the cake, or the mother ate the cake, or the thieves ate the cake, right?
Okay.
This is something just so you can remember. Make sure you follow the references. Make sure they're correct. Also, in an APA, you always indent each paragraph. I think I showed you this before. about indention. All right. So in the APA, you always indent.
Okay.
So it should be like this. So what I do, I think I showed you this before, is I go in, anytime I write a paper, I set up my paper. I'll go into, where is it? I go into home, paragraph, and I set everything up. Align it left. Special, I always put first line. First line is gonna automatically indent for you. Line spacing double. Okay. Then I say okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if it will do it. So if I do it now, so I'll go to paragraph, then I'll go to special and first line. And what should happen is every paragraph should automatically indent. Double space. Okay. And see, you see now every paragraph is now indented,
Yes.
right? So when you write in Word, you don't want to use the tab button and spacing. It just messes the program up. It throws your alignment. You want to always preset. So use this paragraph function
Okay.
in the home key. And what happens is they'll automatically indent every paragraph you have. Okay. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go back, look at what you have. Okay. Once you go back, look at what you have. Yeah, this is passive voice there. Let's read this paragraph. I'm just curious to see what this paragraph reads. From a historical perspective, English is not accepted in Bangladesh because it was the language of the colonizers, the Christians, and because it displaced the dominance of Arabic and Persian, which the country's Muslims, the majority religion, considered scarce languages. From a historical perspective, English was not accepted in Bangladesh because it was the language of the colonizers, the Christians, and because it displaced the dominance of Arabic, which the country's Muslims. Oh, sacred. Okay, that's right. Later, it praises for serving. So this is a really unclear sentence. And one of the reasons why it's unclear is because of your pronoun. Be careful with these pronouns like it. Anytime you have a it, make sure it should be well established what it represents. So in this case, I wouldn't use it. And I would say later, grant praises for serving as the universal name. English, I would say later, English.
I'm at English here.
English, it should be English. All right.
So should I write the English?
Yeah, it should be English. All right, so just be careful with your pronoun usage because it can cause confusion.
Okay. Careful.
Later English praises or
Pronouns.
later English praises for serving as the English. I think I think you want to say something like this. Imperialism, hold on a second. Imperialism cause create imperialism. Imperialism allowed English to become a universal language. Okay, you just want to make sure that you're concise in every sentence. When Bangladesh gained its independence, which was never passed the sentence by greater nationalism. So the way you fix this is say which great nationalism and linguistic fervor supported. You see that?
Yes.
I could say, so I could fix that by saying which great nationalism and linguistic fervor supported. All right, now we got an active sentence. And
Okay.
Bangladesh gained its independence. This is called a relative clause. Just be careful with not overusing relative clauses. When Bangladesh gained its independence, which great nationalism and was a favorite supporter. What was somewhat neglected? See how the sentence has a coherence issue? What was somewhat neglected?
Like the language itself, like they didn't want to accept it even after the independence, but it take time. And
what language? What language are we talking about? English or we talking about?
English.
So when Bangladesh gained its independence, which great nationalism and linguistic fathers supported.
And English was still like neglected, and then after sometimes they started to accept it. And
Okay.
it's actually in our country.
We want to rephrase that sentence so you're saying exactly what you mean. When Bangladesh gained its independence, I would say when Bangladesh gained its independence, great nationalism and linguistic fever. When Bangladesh gained its independence, English was neglected. English was willfully neglected because the country English was willfully neglected because country because the country, the nation, I'm gonna say the nation was celebrating nationalism and linguistic fervor.
You meant the nation, right? Because the nation was celebrating.
Nation. If the nation was celebrating. That's what Bangladesh. When Bangladesh gained its independence, the populace willfully neglected the English language. Because the nation was celebrating nationalism and revolution. Due to the victory, due to the country's due to countries. All right, so now this sentence makes a little bit more sense. When Bangladesh gained its independence, the populace willfully neglected the English language because the nation was celebrating nationalism and linguistic fervor due to the country's victory. Okay, now it makes sense. However, even then, the importance of English was not entirely disregarded because Bangladesh and English were both used in the writing and publication of the country's constitution. Okay, English is a topic that must be taught, learned, and practiced until the tertiary level of education. People exams of nearly all national. What's going on here? English is a topic that most must be learned and practiced until the tertiary level of education. What's the second part here?
This is like the territorial level of education, like in India. They started before they used to use Hindi language, and then they changed
So
because it is
why are you including this sentence? Why is this sentence important?
as I was writing like a history about the of English language. That's why I added this one. I thought that it might like how
Let's see how
might
you had the flow. You're going from the colonizers and the victory of independence. So you need to connect this sentence.
should I remove this sentence?
I'm thinking it probably needs to be removed. In addition, 12 organizations operate in English. English is the primary language instruction. All right. So you're losing your way here. This was a very strong paragraph. Now it's dying because you're mixing ideas. However, even then, the importance of English was not entirely disregarded with the Constitution.
Should I remove it?
You could say, so during this time, English is the time I remember. So during this time, was schools teaching English in the tertiary level? Is that what was going on during this time? Schools were teaching English to tertiary level?
Yes.
Okay. And is it because Bangladesh follows the Indian system?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually, yes, that's
say that. So say that. Also, so you want to say something like you need a signal word. Also, English is taught. Also, schools remember, we need that. Schools taught, tertiary schools. Let's say schools taught English up until, is it up until the tertiary level?
Yes.
Because also schools taught English up until the tertiary level. Also during this time, schools taught English up until the tertiary level. Following. Was India considered like the pinnacle of education?
Yes.
Okay. Following the effective, can we say British-based Indian school system?
Yes. Yes, because they were like our colonies before was British based Indian, yes.
All right, so now look at how the sentence reads. Now it reads as a part of what you currently said. Since you want to give a history. So now it reads better. So let's read it. Now we'll read up until that point. You can see. We'll see how is now that sentence connects. From a historical perspective, English was not accepted in Bangladesh because it was the language of colonizers, the Christians, and because it displaced the dominance of Arabic and Persian, which the country's Muslim, the majority religion, considered sacred languages. Imperialism allowed English to become a universal language. When Bangladesh gained its independence, the populace willfully neglected the English language because the nation was celebrating nationalism and linguistic favor due to the country's victory. However, even then, the importance of English was not entirely disregarded because Bangladesh and English were both Bangladeshi and English were both used in the writing and publication of their country's constitution. Also, during this time, schools taught English until the tertiary level following the effective British-based Indian school structure. See how now that all flows together now? It all
Yes.
flows now. In addition,
Yeah.
organization. Always just write it out. Club organizations operate in English, use English as a medium. In addition, 12 are going to use English as the medium. And primary primary mode of instruction. Let's say and primary language of instruction at newly founded signs. Then we can also say, consequently, or simultaneously, as a result, English medium schools expanded quickly throughout the nation. I would say here, oddly enough,
You're right.
oddly enough, the primary goals are not met. Oddly enough, even with the institutional use of English, in academia, the primary goals, students, the academic goals, or let's say learners, or you could say the nation theme cannot acquire the language perfectly or efficiently. Causing schools to not meet academic standards. All right, now, I just want to show you, now we took, this is what I want you to do, what we just did.
Okay.
Take a paragraph and fix it.
Okay.
Now, this paragraph has good cohesion, good coherence. It has a topic, it flows, it stays on one point, it doesn't go up to a million points, right? And it's actually a really good paragraph.
Okay.
I want you to do that for the rest of your paragraphs.
Okay.
Break it down just like we just did.
Okay.
All right, so that's your task now, is to go through, break it down. Your writing is improving.
Alhamdulillah.
So just break it down, make sure that every paragraph has a topic and controlling idea, a topic sentence. Stay on one topic and one controlling idea. Don't branch off, okay?
Okay.
One topic, one controlling idea. Every paragraph should have purpose.
Okay.
All right, and
Okay.
that, and then we'll follow back up and see. We'll follow back up from there. I'll save this and send it to you. Oh, actually, I think I already saved it.
Okay, so I will start to fix my paragraphs, and as soon as possible, I am going to send it to you, inshallah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you this version now. I just wanted you to know too, on your cover page, you don't list me as the professor, okay? You could put as guide, but not the professor, because there's a different professor. And the university name the name has actually changed now. They're now a university. It was a college, now it's university. So it's Parish University of
Can you
International.
just, is it okay, sir, to write for me the name of the university?
I already did it. I did it several times. And I don't think you ever. I don't think you not.
Actually, I wrote the same as you
cover.
mentioned before.
Just look at the cover page. I changed it this time again for you. Just look at it. Look at it again. I changed it to the proper name.
Okay, sir, did you send me right now in WhatsApp?
I'm sending it right now. The whole thing for you.
Okay.
All right, so check your WhatsApp, the cover page. Just be mindful of the name, the name, proper name of the university.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
go and do that, and then we'll look at it again. Okay.
Okay, so I have to finish this one first, and then I will start with the other things.
Yeah, no, yeah. Let's finish this. Finish this first. Let's master this.
Okay, I will try to finish it as soon as possible, and I will send you, inshallah, very soon.
Inshallah.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate it. Jazakallah khair.
No problem. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.